Hi YouTube, my name is Hannah and this is actually the first time I've ever made a YouTube video, so bear with me and my mistakes. But I made this new channel specifically to document my adventures to Japan this summer because this summer I'm going to be an exchange student there for 6 weeks. It's really exciting. And I thought I might as well make video blogs. But when I was interested in becoming an exchange student, I thought it was really helpful to watch video blogs that other exchangers did because I thought it was more engaging and more interesting to watch actual videos and footage of their adventures rather than read about it in a blog. So this is going to be my first vlog in this Japan series, and in this one I'm just going to be talking about the application process and what it takes to be an exchange student. I know a lot of people who want to be an exchange student and they would really love to go to a different country, but they're scared of how much it costs, or they think they don't have what it takes, or they're scared to go to a whole new country by themselves. Or they just think that the competition is too much and they would never be able to get in. But really, it's not as bad as you think. For me, I received a scholarship called the Japan Business Society of Detroit. And basically that's a partial scholarship, so it pays for the whole fee except for $1,000. So my parents have to pay $1,000 and any spending money, because spending money is for when you go, if you hang out with friends, if you go to a restaurant, or if you, I don't know, for transportation fees, in Japan, everywhere you go you need to either take the bus or the train or walk, and transportation fees, I heard they rack up a lot of money. So from past exchangers, I heard it's best to take about $500 to $1,000 in spending money, especially if you're going to go shopping like I am and buy a lot of stuff. Basically in all, my parents probably have to pay about $2,000. But there are some scholarships that are full coverage, so they pay for the whole trip. But those are extremely competitive. And also, I didn't actually qualify for any of the full rides because most of them either require that you had already taken 1 year of Japanese, which I haven't because my school doesn't offer it, or they require that you are part of a club, a certain club, or they require that you're a U.S. citizen. And I guess it's weird because, I'm not actually a U.S. citizen because I have permanent residency, but my parents never, and I've been living here for a really long time, 10 years, but my parents never actually got around to applying for citizenship for me. So, I was stuck with only one scholarship, which is the one I applied to, the Japan Business Society of Detroit. That was the only scholarship I qualified for. And I happened to get it, which is a really, really lucky thing. But basically, there are so many scholarships you can choose from. So I'm pretty sure most people who apply, I'm pretty sure most get one. Basically, for the application process, you can apply just directly and pay the whole thing yourself, or apply for a scholarship. And then for the scholarship applications, there are 2 routes. You can either say, oh, if I don't get the application, I don't go. If I don't get the scholarship, I don't go. Or you apply for a scholarship but say that even if you don't get it, you're still going. And for each of these 3 options, there's different application fees. If you're just going without applying for a scholarship, you have to pay $500 in fees. If you're applying for a scholarship and not going, if you don't get the scholarship, you have to pay $75 because that's just a scholarship fee. If you are applying for a scholarship and you're still planning on going, even if you don't get the scholarship, you have to pay $575 in fees. But if you think about it, like, it's actually not that much, because the whole exchange trip for 6 weeks during the summer is $7,500. And it's even more for the year and semester exchanges. And it's not because my organization is really expensive or anything. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the same for, or close to the same for all exchange organizations. And the organization I'm going through is called YFU, or Youth for Understanding, and it's really amazing. It has a really long history, and it's really respected. So if you ever decide to go on an exchange trip, I really recommend going through YFU. So for the application process, it's really not that difficult. Basically, you have an online application, you fill out some information about you, your parents, your hobbies, your extracurriculars, and it might take some time, because there's like a bunch of forms. And then you also have to write a host family letter, which is like a letter that YFU gives to your host family to read, so they can learn more about you. And basically, you should not blow that off. It's actually really important. And then after that, you can just submit all of those things online. But there are 4 documents that you do have to print out and fill. One is the parent-student agreement, which you print out, and basically your parents read the rules and sign it. That's simple. The other one's the educator evaluation, which is a sheet with like questions for a teacher, and they basically ask whether or not the teacher thinks you're fit to be an exchange student, whether or not the teacher thinks you have what it takes, or something like that. Third thing is like a health form, basically to make sure you're healthy and not like severely sick. Fourth one is it's a thing that you give to your counselor, and basically they have to like write your GPA on that sheet, and also how many language classes you've taken, and then they sign that. I mean, the GPA, it's actually not that important. For the summer programs, your GPA doesn't matter, but for the semester and year programs, I'm pretty sure you have to have like a GPA above 2.0, or is it 3.0 in order to go. But I mean, I don't think that part's too hard. And the reason your counselor has to write what language you're taking is because a lot of the scholarships, they require you to have like a year of a certain language. And so if you lie and say, yeah, I've taken a year of that language, they would never know. That's why they need your teacher to verify, or your counselor to verify. And then basically, other than those 4 forms, you also have to take some pictures of yourself doing activities you like, and you mail those 4 forms and the pictures to YFU, and you're done. That's it. Except if you are applying for a scholarship. If you apply for a scholarship, you have to write 5 extra essays. More if you apply for certain scholarships. Like, some of them require you to write an extra essay, so you need to write 6 total, but most scholarships, like mine, I only had to write 5. And the essay questions, like, I'm not sure if they change year to year. They're really simple. Like, there's a lot you could say about all of the questions, and the essays aren't even hard at all. It's only 250 words. After you type up those essays, you also turn that in along with your online application, and that's it. And basically, after you turn it in, also if you apply for a scholarship, like all of them have deadlines. Most of them are around like early December to early January. If you don't apply for a scholarship, the deadline isn't until like April something. So after you turn in your application, if you apply for a scholarship, you're also required to go to an interview. And the interview, it might seem hard, but actually it's really easy. Like, the interviewers are really nice, and they're just wonderful. So after you turn in your application, you probably have to wait like a month or two, and then YFU will call you and schedule an interview. And the interview is like really surprising. Like, I thought they would be like asking me questions about why I want to go and stuff like that, but it wasn't at all like that. They asked me things about like what classes I'm taking, or like what extracurriculars I like to do, or like what kind of friends I have, or like what I would do in a certain situation. So I guess the questions were really unexpected, but I mean, they weren't hard to answer, so you shouldn't worry about that either. And so the interview typically takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and after that, you wait for 3 or 4 more months, and it's pretty nerve-wracking because you have to wait for so long. But by early May, you should have your letter, whether it's an acceptance letter or a rejection letter. It's a lot of waiting, but I think it's really worth it. So I haven't gotten my specific letter yet because I found out that I got my scholarship through the phone because YFU called me, but I should be getting my acceptance letter in like a couple days. So I will post a new video of me opening my letter and freaking out when I get it. So that's basically it. And after you get accepted, there are some orientations you have to go to. There's like an in-state orientation. That's mandatory. And that's for like a couple of hours on a certain day, and you go to that. And then there's an orientation in California. Actually, the second orientation depends on what country you're going to. I know that for Japan, all of the orientations are in California, because I'm pretty sure that's where we like fly off. And that orientation isn't until like June 17th or something. So actually it's pretty soon. It's in like 25 days. But in that orientation, it's like 3 days long, and you stay at this dorm of a college or something. And you basically learn about Japan culture and like what you should and shouldn't do. And there's also some like language classes. So it's gonna be pretty exciting.